Hello everyone, welcome to the Friday Night Curry Club. It's so lovely to be back. I have missed you. I hope you've missed me too. It's been a few weeks, so it's really lovely to be back. I hope you are all well. I hope everybody is keeping safe. I hope you've had a nice sort of Easter and a nice sort of time to sort of open up and see friends and family. I hope everybody is eager and raring to go. As always, please give me a shout out. Let me know that you're watching. Let me know if you're going to be cooking along with me. Let me know what you've been up to. Let me know if you've missed me. Send me lots of love. You know me, I like to be loved. It's really lovely to be back, as always. So I love doing the Friday Night Curry Clubs, and it's now getting lighter and lighter in the evenings, which is just amazing. A few weeks ago when we were doing it, it was pitch black outside, so it's lovely that the sun is shining here. So as always, this is your time to get as much information out of me as you possibly can. Use this as your opportunity to ask lots of questions to me, to the community, to everybody who's logged in and has taken time out of their Friday night to join us and have a little bit of a chin wag, have a chit chat and get some lovely food cooking. So to ease us back into the Friday Night Curry Club, I thought we would do a sort of Western classic restaurant dish, one that is probably most people's entry into Indian food, or it has been in this country, in the UK in particular. Most people sort of enter the world of Indian food through the korma. So this one that we're doing is very much a Western style korma. Obviously a very classic traditional korma is slightly different. It's not that bright yellow colour that we're all used to seeing when we go to restaurants and takeaways. It is different. It's more red, it's more oily, but we are going to stick with what everybody knows as a classic korma. That being said, it's not heavy, it's not cloyy, it's not overly sweet. It's actually really fresh, it's quite light, it's quite simple to make, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm also going to show you how you can spice it up, because I do like korma. I like the flavour of it. I like all the warming flavours that come through, but I do like a bit of heat in mine, so I'm going to add some chilies and show you how to spice that up. So before we get going, have we got lots of people who have joined us? Have we got lots of people who have missed being part of the Friday Curry Club?
Lots of people have missed it.
Hello everyone!
We've got Camilla is cooking for the first time live from Norway.
Hello Camilla from Norway, cooking live. I'm so excited. Camilla, I'm sure you've been posting, haven't you, on the app and Instagram and stuff, so I've seen lots of your pictures already and they've all looked lovely.
We've got Matt in Florida's here again, swapping chicken for tofu and potatoes.
Hi Matt, how you doing? Lovely to have you join. Lovely to have you as part of the community as always. Thank you so much.
We've got Roger's here.
Hi Rog. Have you got the kids cooking? You promised me you were going to get the kids cooking, so I need to know.
We've got Daniel from Lisbon.
Hello Daniel, all the way in Lisbon. How you doing? How's beautiful Lisbon today? Let us know.
We've got May in the Basque Country.
Hello May, welcome to the Friday Night Curry Club. Lovely to have you with us as well.
Mandy says, hi again from Greece, looking forward to yummy Friday curry.
Hello Mandy, all the way from Greece. Wow, amazing. And I take it you're cooking. Sounds like you're cooking, so that's all good. I'm very excited about that.
Joni is flying solo tonight as Lawrence is at work. I'm
Hello,
really excited.
Joni. So you're cooking?
Really excited about this one. Korma's not my choice, but I've wanted to cook it authentically.
Okay, welcome. Lovely to have you join us. So this is, it's not really authentic in that, but there's lots of things we can do.
We've got Annie in Durban, South Africa.
Hello Annie in South Africa, welcome. Durban. Now, the Durban curry, the bunny chow.
She
Very
said
excited about that.
Durban have the highest concentration of Indians outside of India.
Yep, I do know that, yeah. So that's really cool. Thank you for joining. Lovely to have you join us.
Got Mark and Sheila in Weymouth, Shelby in New Jersey.
Hi Shelby, hi Mark and
Sheila.
Sheila in Weymouth. Hi, how you doing? Lovely to have you join. Welcome.
Got Stephen is watching in Chicago. My kids love your korma.
Yay! All the way in Chicago. I've never been to Chicago and I really want to go. I hear the food in Chicago is supposed to be amazing. So that is on my list of places to visit. Maybe I'll come and cook your kids a korma. That would be nice, hey?
Got Hero from Montreal.
Hero from Montreal. Hello, welcome. Lovely to have you join us. Thank you for taking time out of your glorious Friday to be with us.
We've got Linda's.
Hi,
Good
Linda.
morning in Arizona.
Arizona. Woo! Lovely to have so many of you from all over the world. So who else? I always like to know where you are tuning in from because we always want to know who is the furthest afield.
I think the furthest today is probably Montreal.
Montreal. I think you're winning at the moment.
Possibly
That's Hero.
Chicago, I reckon.
Right, so welcome everybody, and it's so amazing to have so many of you join. It's so amazing that so many of you are going to be cooking. So this is my take on the korma. It's as I say, it's all about that freshness and that zinginess, and I think that's quite important because a lot of the ones that you get at restaurants can be quite heavy, quite cloyy, a bit sort of sickly. So this is nothing like that. It's lighter, and it sounds like a few of you have already made my korma, especially for the kids. It's a great way to get them into Indian food. So if I start off and just talk you through what I've got.
Before you do, Michael.
Hi Michael.
Has said, howdy from a Texan in Ascoli Piceno in Italy.
Texan in Italy.
Yep. I live along the 2100-year-old Roman salt highway, which carried salt from the nearby Adriatic to Rome.
How amazing. You're so lucky. We're in beautiful UK. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh,
right.
I've got a winner for furthest afield.
Oh, we've got somebody else.
Desley is in Perth, Australia.
Desley is in Perth, Australia. You are the winner. Thank you so much for joining. What time is it? I'm assuming about 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, something like that. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me all the way from Perth and from wherever you are in the world. It's just fabulous to have you all with me. Okay, so today, is Gordon not joined us? He's normally...
He's here.
Oh, hi Gordon. I was waiting for the comments to start coming through from Gordon. Okay, so the korma. I'm going to be using ghee to start my dish with, and I'm using chicken thigh fillets is what I'm using. But as I said in the post that I put up, it's a great dish if you are vegan or vegetarian. You just sub the meat out for anything really will work. So mixed veg, tofu, you could use paneer, you could use cauliflower is really good. It will just sort of simmer away. Anything that's nice, and I think cauliflower for me would work really, really well in this dish. So there's always options, and that's one thing that I will always do is give you options, whether you're a vegetarian or a vegan or whatever that might be, just so that you can join in with the cook-alongs, because Indian food is fabulous for being able to sub in different ingredients to make it suitable for your diet.
Desley said it's 1:25 in the morning.
Oh, I got that completely wrong then. 1:25 in the morning. Are you just going to bed? Have you just come in from the pub? Tell me the truth. So I'm using chicken thighs, and the key bits that we're going to do. So to break this dish down, first of all, we are going to marinate the chicken or whichever protein you're using. Then we're going to make a masala, and then we'll put the two bits together. So for the marinade, I'm just going to talk it through before we start it. I've got my chicken and I've already chopped it up into little dices. Into that, we are going to add some yogurt, some spices, a little bit of salt, and we're just going to let that sit for as long as possible. So if you were doing this at home, you could marinate it beforehand or in the morning and just leave it and come back in the evening and do the masala. Or if you don't have very much time, just do it and cook it straight away. It's absolutely fine. It really isn't going to make that much of a difference. So don't ever stop yourself from having something because you think, oh, I won't be able to give it 4 hours to marinate. It'll still be okay. So that's the chicken. And then for the masala, we've got onions. I've got my spices here. So I'm going to be using these dried red chilies. I've got some cassia bark, some cloves and some cardamom that will be going into the masala. And we will get on and do that in a second. So first things first, if we start the marinade so that it can just sort of sit for as long as it possibly can. Obviously, before we go into that, we need to have a little Friday night drinky. So cheers to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me again. And it's been a couple of weeks of nice chilled out Friday nights, which is always good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my pestle and mortar first of all, and I'm going to crush up my spices that I've got here. So I've got some black pepper and I've got some coriander seeds here. So I'm just going to pop those straight into my pestle and mortar and give them a bash. If you've got a pepper grinder, you can use that. I've also got my coriander grinder here, which I could have used, but I just thought I'd use my pestle and mortar today. So just going to pop those in and crush those up. If you've got a spice grinder, you can put them in your spice grinder. That's fine too. You don't have to use a pestle and mortar, just whatever equipment you have that works for you, or even if you've got already ground coriander powder, that's fine too, just use that. So the black pepper in this is going to give this a bit of a bite. So do remember that black pepper is you know, it does have that warming bite to it. So make sure you crush those peppercorns down and then use the space in your pestle and mortar to grind up those spices. Those of you who have cooked with me before will know that I do prefer to grind up my whole spices as and when I'm going to use them, just because they give so much more aromatics. They give such a lot of, especially coriander, the zinginess and the freshness. I can smell it already. So it's a really nice spice to use. And if you don't know about the aromatics and the things that the spices are giving you, I've put together a whole sort of section of videos specifically talking about spices, little sort of 30-second clips that you can watch. But I've also got an ebook all about spices as well that you can just download. I think I don't even know, it's about £2 or something, but you can download it. It's got loads of information on there. The only way you are going to know what spices do to your food is by tasting them and understanding the flavours and the aromatics that they release. So it's really important that you do taste your spices. Okay, so already I'm getting loads of aromas coming through. I'm getting loads of zingy, citrusy, almost orangey flavours and freshness. It smells freshness to me. So if I show you what my pestle and mortar looks like, can you see in there? So it's not completely pounded to a fine powder, because it's quite difficult to do that with coriander seeds, but as much as you can. Okay, so I'm going to pop that into my chicken. Pop that to one side. And then I've got some ginger and some garlic here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I quite like my garlic, as you know. And then I've got some ginger that's just roughly chopped. And what I've done for the first time ever, for those of you who cook, I've actually peeled it. I don't usually peel it. So for me, a korma has to have a nice sort of silky smooth sauce. So the way that we are cooking the ingredients are going to help towards getting that nice smooth silky sauce. So I'm going to pop that in there as well. And with my pestle and mortar, start to give those a bash and break them down to a nice paste. And now you'll really start to get the aromas coming through. So, you know, a korma is is very far away from being a boring dish. It's got loads of aromatics in it, lots of flavour. More so when you make it for yourselves. So don't be put off and think that it's a boring dish, because it's really not. Now, when you're using your pestle and mortar for things like this, make sure you give them a good old bash. And what you can do, once they've broken down a little bit, what you can do is just add a little bit of salt, and that will just help to bring everything together to a paste. And again, it all comes down to trying to get a nice smooth sauce, so you don't want to leave these bits too chunky. For those of you who are cooking along, I didn't say at the beginning, did I? Make sure you take little pictures as you go through, because it's just really nice to see how you get on. So you can post those on the app. You can also post them if you've got Instagram or whatever, and just tag me in, because I love to see what you get up to. So do take pictures of the disasters and the good stuff, so please do.
Matt said, uh-oh, just pulled out my pot of yoghurt and realised I bought sour cream. Can I save the dish?
Is it, what? Oh, it's sour cream, is it? Do you know what? You can use sour cream for this. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. Or do you mean it's off? But if it's sour cream is a really good substitute for yogurt, so don't worry.
Angeline has asked, do you have pestle and mortar recommendations to buy?
I do have some recommendations. I do like these ones that are, obviously what you want to get is something that's really heavy, because it's the weight that's going to break up the ingredients that you put in there. So I quite like these. If you've got one that's quite rough inside, that also helps you to break down the ingredients. But I can put some recommendations on afterwards. I can put some links up if that will help you. If not, I can put some in the app. So if you just make a note, I'll put some of those in the app and just give you some thoughts as to what you should get. So my pestle and mortar bashed up ginger and garlic is looking like that. And it smells delish. Okay, so that's in there. I'm going to bring my chicken across again, and then if I use the same spoon, so just scrape out your ginger and garlic, any juice that might be in there, all of that is all good stuff. Now I did put a little bit of salt in here, so I am still going to add a little bit more into my marinade. Now, as we're cooking, please do let me know how you're getting on. If you're falling behind, then you just need to shout. Just put a little message in and I'll slow down. Or if something doesn't make sense, then you need to let me know so that I can explain. So in here we've got ginger and garlic, we've got coriander ground up, and some black pepper. I'm going to add a little bit more salt, and then I'm going to put in my yogurt. Now if you are vegan and you don't want to use yogurt, you can just use coconut cream instead, and just use that as a marinade, or you can use sour cream, just anything that's going to help to carry those flavours through and into the meat, because that's what a marinade is. It's all about helping the ingredients to penetrate further into the meat. Now, a classic korma, you would have the yogurt and you would have quite a lot of oil in your pan, and you're just, the whole point of what you're doing is you're bringing the yogurt and the oil together. That can be a little bit tricky for most people, because yogurt, so it needs to be simmered at quite a low temperature because otherwise it will split. So one of the things that you can do, a really good hint, is that if you add a teaspoon or so of gram flour into your marinade, what it does is it just stabilizes the yogurt so it won't split when you're cooking it later. So that's got a teaspoon of gram flour in there as well, and then I'm going to add my turmeric, and this is where you're going to get that lovely vibrant yellow colour from. So I've put in just under a teaspoon there.
The water aid people are on, and they've said, "Hi Harry, what's the difference between green and black cardamom? I've seen both in your recipes."
So black and green cardamom, who's that?
Water aid.
Hi Water Aid guys. So black and green cardamom are two very, very different things. I say they look similar, they don't look similar in that one's green and one's black, but they have very, very different flavours as well. So they're different plants. Green cardamom, which I've got here, is obviously smaller and it's green in colour, and that's got almost like a bittersweet aromatic to it and quite a bittersweet flavour. Black cardamom is much bigger, it's black, and it's got a really smoky, meaty flavour, and you tend to use that in sort of meaty dishes. It'll just sit in the background and it will just release that smoky aromatic into the dish. So sort of slow cooked lamb curries, it's really good in. Again, you can use it in rice dishes the same as green cardamom. But green cardamom you tend to use in both sweet and savoury dishes, whereas black cardamom is much more savoury. I will, if I've got any in here, I will show you what they look like. I don't have any. But if you look at the website, there's a whole section, as I said, on spices. You can have a look on there. It goes through the difference between all of these sort of ingredients, so take a look on there. But yeah, really interesting question, because I think black cardamom just starting to come through in the spice world. A lot of people hadn't heard of them, but yeah, we tend to use them quite a lot in Indian cooking. Okay, so in terms of my marinade then, I have put in here some yogurt. I've put in here a teaspoon of gram flour, which is chickpea flour, just to stabilize that yogurt. I've added some salt into there, some black pepper, some coriander seeds ground down, some ginger and some garlic, again bashed up to a nice sort of smooth paste, and some turmeric.
Dean said accidentally eating a black one is worse than the green one.
Yeah, black cardamom I think have got a stronger flavour. It's very different, but it is stronger. And again, it's not, you don't necessarily eat them. They're just there to impart their flavour and aromatics into the dish. But yeah, you're right, Dean, eating a black cardamom. And they're bigger as well. They're much bigger in size. So that is our marinade, and that's what it's looking like. It's beautifully vibrant and yellow and aromatic and delicious. So that's where we should all be at the moment. We're taking it nice and easy today so that we don't scare any new viewers off. Look at that. It's like sunshine in a bowl. Okay, everyone happy? Is everyone at the same stage as I am? I'm just going to pop that to one side and just move these bits away to have a little clear down. It's so lovely to have so many of you join. Amazing. I'm very excited that you guys from Water Aid have joined me. Always lovely to see you. The next thing I'm going to do, which I should have done at the beginning, but I didn't. So in here, who knows what this stuff is? Can you see that? It's like the gold in the spice world. Who knows what that is? I'm sure most of you do. But what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to wait for the answers to come in. I'm just going to, with my fingers, I'm just going to crush them up. And then I'm going to just soak them with a little bit of, you can use milk, you can use water. So whatever you've got, just, who knows? Have we got any answers coming in?
Saffron, 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 saffron,
Saffron, saffron. It's worth more per gram than gold. So look at that. So all I've done is just crush it. I'm going to add a little splash of, I've just got water here, but you know, if you've got milk, a little splash of milk, not a lot, just a little bit, just to draw the colour out. Look at that.
Matt's just said, oh wow, WaterAid have joined us. Thanks for the great recipe a couple of weeks back.
Oh, that's really good. I'm so pleased to have so many of you who took part in that. It was so good, wasn't it, the WaterAid one? It was such good fun. We had a very, very different style of curry, and that's what Friday Night Curry Club's all about. It's about bringing different styles to the forefront. So there is my golden water, and I'm just going to let that sit. I'm going to put a little bit more in because it's so vibrant, and we'll let that sit for a minute. Okay, so how are we all doing? Is everybody still with me? Everyone on the same page still? So the next thing we're going to do while our chicken is marinating is we're going to just have a little drinky and have a little rest for a moment. And then we're going to get my favourite bit of kit out. You all know how much I love this. Now this hops back to a korma is very much about that smooth, silky cream sauce. So I want to make sure that my onions are really, really blitzed down so that they cook down and they make that sauce really nice and velvety.
Is that warm milk to put in?
So you can put warm milk in. I put in, I just use warm water because that's why I had in my jug. But yeah, a little bit of warm milk. It will just help to draw the colour out. If you can't be bothered to warm it up, that's fine. You can just put it straight from the fridge, but by the time you use it, it'll warm up. But hopefully, if you've got some good saffron, you'll see straight away those colours are just so vibrant. So what we're going to do is we're going to blitz up our onion so that it's nice and smooth. Now you can grate this if you've got a grater. Before you do, I'm just going to start my pan heating up, and I'm going to use some ghee. So again, this is about, it's quite a decadent dish. It comes from the Mughal era, you know, it's for the emperors. So you use all of your best ingredients. You use your saffron, you use your ghee. It's Friday night. We're all allowed a little bit of a treat every now and again. Now, obviously, if you are vegan, you will not be using this. If you have health reasons and you don't want to use it, that's fine too. Just substitute it for your normal cooking oil, whatever that might be. But I'm just going to put that in to just start heating up while I get my onion nice and blitzed up. Now I could take a bit of time here and chop it up nice and finely, but you all know how much I love my little gadget. So everything is going in there and we're going to do it all together. Okay, now do give me a shout out if you've got any questions as we are going through, or if you have got any, if I'm going too quickly or if I'm not going quickly enough. Either way, please do give me a shout out. So this bit's quite noisy, so we're going to start to blitz our onion. I can tell already it's going to make me cry. So we want this nice and smooth, not smooth, we don't want this nice and smooth, but we want to blitz it as much as we possibly can, just because we want it to be a nice sort of smooth sauce. So that's what I'm going with, and that's just going to go straight in. It's not going to go straight in at all. I'm going to put my spices in first because we need to get our base sauce, get our base aromatics going. So into here, I've got my cassia bark going in. I love cassia bark. I have got 4 green cardamom going in. I'm just going to literally just crack them and pop them in. Now the whole point of doing this with your spices, your whole spices at the beginning, is just to add a base aromatic to that oil. There we go. I'm going to put the lid back on because my
Michael
onions...
has said you're courageous to wear white while cooking with saffron and turmeric.
I know. Let's just see what happens at the end, shall we? I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we'll be all right. But yeah, we went white today because the korma's yellow. I've got cloves, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cloves going in, and then I'm going to put in some red chilli. So a little bit of red chilli just sits at the back of the dish, and it will just sort of release its aromatics gently into the back of the dish. I just had a little explosion of a clove which has gone flying over there. So I'm going to pop that in. I'm going to pop the chilies in and just give that a little mix through. So that's quite hot in that pan. You see? So I will post all of these pictures that I take as I go along so that on my Instagram feed so you can see the cooking as it's happening. So once your oil is hot and your aromatics have gone in, you can smell them. You can then pop your onions in.
Debbie is here.
Hi Debbie, how you doing? Lovely to have you join. I hope you're well. Right, scrape these last bits off and then we'll give all of this a nice stir through. So far all we've got in the pan is ghee went in, or oil, whatever you're using, cardamom, cloves, I've put in 2 chilies and some cassia bark. Now, normally when I cook a dish with you, I always say, or I always talk about how important it is that you get your onions really dark and deep and brown, and because that's what gives you that sort of earthy, deep flavour that you're looking for. Now with this dish, this is a korma, we're trying to keep this nice and light. So we don't need to take our onions down to that deep, dark place that they go to. But we do want them to cook. So all we want to do is just cook them. What will happen is, on a high heat, the onions go in, you release all of their moisture first of all, and then we are going to just cook them until they start to go nice and translucent, and they just start to get a little bit of colour, not a lot, because we want this dish to stay nice and light. So this is quite different in that respect, but it's still a very, very important part of your dish. So I always say a good curry is all about the onions, and that, whether that be because you're cooking them for a long time or for not as long, but it's still important. Okay, so how's everybody doing? Is everyone still with me? Are we all on the same page? Oh, it smells really good in my kitchen so far. So that's looking good. I'm just going to let that do what it needs to do for a few minutes. The other bits that we're going to, so once the chicken has gone in, we're going to let that cook down, and then we're going to add some lovely flavours to it, which is what makes the korma, I think. So we'll do that in a minute. The other bit that I'm going to do whilst my chicken is cooking, I'm just going to show you how to make something called Punjabi pyaz, and it's almost like it's an onion salad basically. But whenever I have a curry, whenever I have Indian food, I will always have raw onions and quite often green chilies on the side. But this is it's a onion salad that we have chilies and lemon and that kind of thing in, and it's quite a nice sort of side dish to this, because this is a great one for the family, for kids, especially those who want a mild curry. But if you want to jazz yours up a little bit, there's lots of different ways that you can do it. You can add chilies into it, or you can have a nice sort of condiment on the side, and that's what I'm going to show you how to make.
Can I just check, we've not done anything with the soaked saffron yet, have we?
No, so saffron is still sitting here looking very beautiful. Oh, hang on. Look at the colour of it. Can you see? Hang on.
No, that way, yeah.
That way. I don't want to spill it on my work surface. But it's beautiful. No, so nothing yet. The saffron's going to go in right at the very, very end, just for a touch of decadence. So don't worry about that yet. It's looking nice. Now with these, if you were cooking for the kids and you didn't want to put any heat in there at all, the black pepper's probably enough that you're marinating with, so you don't need to put the red chilies in at the beginning. But I do encourage you to slowly up your children's chili intake, because eating chili is a skill and you need to start young, if you know what I mean. Okay, so that's looking lovely. I'm gonna give my chicken a little bit of a stir through just to get it going. Make sure that it is all fully coated. I'm using thigh meat, and I prefer using thigh meat whenever I'm doing a curry, just because I think it holds the flavour better. It doesn't sort of dry out. It's got a bit more fat running through it. But if you don't want to use thigh meat, by all means you can use breast meat instead. Same principle, just marinate it in exactly the same way, but you just don't want to overcook it. So do be careful when you're putting it into your dish that you don't cook it for too long, because it will spoil it by drying it out. Okay, so this is looking good. I'm just going to cool my pan down. I'm just going to add a little splash of water. My pan's very hot. Right, is everybody with me? How are everybody's onions getting on? Give me some feedback. Let me know. Put a little touch more in. That's better.
Stephen said my kids would be upset if it wasn't hot.
I like that, Stephen. That's absolutely the way it should be. Okay, so my onions are starting to get a little bit of colour to them. I just want them to soften a little bit more. So the whole point of your onions is that they melt into the back of that sauce. We don't want to have raw bits of onion that you when you bite down, you can still feel that crunch. So they need to go to that translucent, cooked down phase.
Can you show the pot?
Yeah, I will show the pot in a sec. Okay. Let's go this way. This pot is probably not it just gets quite hot. Can you see the colour? Is that okay? So they're just starting to just colour slightly. They're going golden. I wouldn't even say they're brown yet, but we're not far off now. So I will add my chicken very, very soon. Is everybody still with me, or are we slightly further away?
Mats are just going translucent.
That's good.
Camilla's said my onions are not that dark.
Okay, so just a little bit longer. Sometimes, if you feel that they are ever catching on the bottom of the pan, like I said earlier, it felt like my pan was too hot. I just put a little trickle of water in there, just cool the pan down, and that also helps them cook down a bit. So it's a good little trick, because it does help the onions cook as well as sort of regulating the temperature a little bit. So when you are ready, we can move on to the next bit, but I'm gonna just hold fire just for a few more minutes, just so that everyone can catch up.
What heat are you cooking on?
So I fluctuate my heat quite a lot, and it really depends on what's happening in the pan. So my temperature now is right down at the lowest, because I know that it was getting quite hot and they're pretty much there, but I have been doing it on quite a high heat. So when my onions go in at the beginning, I have it on the very highest heat, and what happens is that it just draws all the moisture out, so all of that acrid onion juice comes through, and then I then turn it right down and then let it just sort of saute gently. So there's a lot of temperature fluctuation that goes on, which is probably why I cook on gas, because I just am able to regulate it a little bit more. So I've just turned it up because I can hear that the pan's now not making the right sizzling noises, so I've just turned it up just to get a bit more heat. Okay, so I think my onions are pretty much there, and before I move on, I will show you so you can see the colour of them, and then we're going to add our marinated chicken into it. So they're not brown, they're golden, they've got a bit of colour to them, but they're not brown as such, not like they are when we do our meat curries. There we go. Okay, so is everybody with me? Give me a whoop whoop.
Christopher said it's going well so far. So excited for this recipe.
Yay! Lovely to have you join us, Christopher. I'm amazed that, and I'm very happy that you're so excited about doing this. It's always lovely to have people cooking along and being excited. It's Friday, which means it's curry night, so it's very important. Okay, so here is my marinated chicken. I am now going to start to add my chicken in to the pan. So there's no water or liquid or anything in there, but that is going to go in, as well as all of the marinade.
We've got Rosa, who's just joined from Caracas in Venezuela.
Hi Rosa from Venezuela, welcome, welcome, welcome. So lovely to have you join us from Caracas. How amazing.
Joni's still on onions.
Okay, that's fine, Joni, take your time, you know the score. So my chicken's gone in. I have turned this up to a fairly high heat, because what I want to do is I want to sear that meat with some heat, and then we are going to turn it down and let it simmer and do its thing. But before it does that, I just want to get a little bit of heat to all of those chunks of meat. It's smelling good. It's going to look quite dry as well. Don't worry about it. I know people start to panic. Now, we've just marinated the chicken. We don't want to add any more moisture or liquid into this, because that's just going to dilute those amazing flavours. So once you have given it a good old stir and it's all sort of had a little bit of time to get some heat and it's seared, then what we are going to do, so you should start to get almost like a zingy aromatic coming through, and that's the coriander seeds and everything starting to come together. Yum. Right. Now, once you've got it all mixed through, I'm going to then turn it down to a fairly low setting, which I've just done. And I'm going to put the lid on. And remember, don't panic about not having any moisture in there. All of the moisture and flavour and gravy is going to come from that meat. So we're just going to let that do its thing and just cook for about 10 minutes or so. And then we'll add our final sort of flavourings into there. If you wanted to add a little bit more heat now to this, you could also just chop up a chilli, which I'm going to do here. And you can add that in as well. So there's a few people who cook with us regularly who are allergic to tomatoes and things like that. So this is a really good one because there's no tomatoes in this dish. So it's a good one to do, but you can, you know, don't ever think that a korma is just for those people who like a mild curry. You can switch it up to as hot as you like it.
So Trixie has just said, is it okay to use green instead of red chilies?
So I've used red chilies, red dried chilies, and then I've used green chilies just now. So if you have just got red chilies, that's fine. Just use your red chilies. Use what you have. There's no right or wrong. It will still taste great, I'm sure. So just use what you've got.
If I'm only using veg, should I add some liquid or wait a bit?
So good point. So if you are using vegetables, so if you've got cauliflower or anything like that, you might need to put a little smidge of water in there because that will help them to steam and so on. But we are going to be adding coconut to it, so it will simmer away in that coconut. Now, if you're cooking with tofu or vegetables, just let your veg just sit for a few minutes and then add your coconut milk into that. You can add it more quickly so it's got more time to simmer away in the coconut milk. With the meat, what I want to do is let that meat cook first, and then I'm going to add that lovely coconut into it. So slightly different for veg or korma, veg or tofu or paneer or anything like that you're doing. So yeah, a little splash of water in there, but you can add your coconut quite quickly on after that. So we're going to let that do its thing.
Gordon's asked, is it through the keyhole time yet?
Gordon, you've got a keen eye, Gordon. It's always you that seems to find new and exciting things in my house to look at. Okay, so we are going to also do Punjabi pyaz. Pyaz means onion. Punjabi is just North Indian Punjabi style. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do half, I think, because it's only going to be me that eats this. Nobody else likes raw onion, but I love it. So with onion, what you can do, so a lot of people find that it can be too overpowering and quite strong. So a good way of counteracting that is if you slice up your onion.
When the lid is on, should we reduce the heat?
Yes, so when the lid is on, you want it right down to the lowest temperature so that it just sort of simmers gently. You don't want it on a high heat because it will then burn. What we're wanting is for the juices and flavour to come out of the meat. So yeah, absolutely, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. So what you can do is you slice up your onion really small and then, just pop it into a little bowl whilst you're getting everything else ready, or you can do this in advance as well. Some salt goes in, and then you just put cold water in here. And you just let that sit, just take them all apart. My mum used to do this all the time, she still does. So just let that sit like that, and that will just take away that sort of the harsh rawness. Now into your bowl, I'm going to chop up a nice and finely chopped up chilli. And again, you want to do this quite small because you don't want to get chunky bits. Well, you might want to get chunky bits of chilli under your teeth. Some people like that. So chop that chilli up nice and fine. So hopefully, if you're cooking at home, you should be quite chilled out now, because the chicken or your main protein is doing what it needs to do. Keep an eye on it. So I don't know if I'll be able to show you, but you should start to see little bubbles, and the moisture is starting to come through all by itself. I don't know if you can see there. Can you see at the bottom? All that moisture, and that is actually flavour that's coming out from the meat rendering down and so on. So just give it a little stir. So your thigh is probably going to take in total about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. You can leave it for a little bit longer, but once that moisture starts to come through, then we're going to add our final sort of ingredients just to give it that sweetness. We're not adding any sugar, we're not adding any cream. We're going to be putting some coconut in there, and I'm going to show you a couple of ways to add that flavour and to thicken it. So I've just got chilli in here so far. I've got some fresh coriander, which I'm chopping up. Now, as I've said before, whenever you chop up coriander, just take your knife through once. You don't keep going over and over and over it, because you will bruise the leaves and you will make them go really dark in colour, and you will lose the lovely, lovely aromatics.
Did the chilli go into the water and onions?
No, so all that's gone in here, all that's gone into the onions is cold water and some salt and the onion. And all we're doing is just getting rid of the sort of the harsh onion flavours. So the coriander is going into my bowl with the chilli. So in this bowl I've got coriander and chilli.
Anthony said, Harry, how come you look younger each week?
Ah, you're very kind. It's all that beauty sleep I get. Not. That's very sweet of you. How very, very kind. I wish that was true. I feel like an old lady, but hey ho. Okay. So what I'm going to do with my onions, I'm just going to give it a little rinse with some cold water and just sieve it out. So just rinse it. And ideally you want to drain this off for a little bit, or just use some kitchen roll just to drain off the moisture. You don't want too much moisture in there. So this will give you a really nice crispy onion salad, but without that raw onion flavour. So it's a really yummy.
Michael's just said something interesting. So he said, regarding the amazing aromas of Indian cooking, in my required by the Italian government integration to Italy class, it was mentioned that one thing that might be annoying to indigenous Italians are the odours of cooking exotic foods. Italian cuisine is wonderful. I'm certified as an old style pasta maker, but deeply flavoured with a variety of spices, it is not.
Oh dear. Well, hey ho. I think it's things that I can remember having these similar sort of conversations with my mum when they first came to the UK. It was the same sort of challenges that they were going through, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? So I've got in here a sliced onion that's been soaked in salted water. I've got coriander finely chopped. I've got chilli, and I'm now going to add a little bit of chilli powder, and that's going to give this a lovely red colour. So I've got Kashmiri chilli powder going in, and then we are going to squeeze in a good squeeze of lemon. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt in. Give it all a stir through. Now if you wanted to, you could put some little chopped tomatoes in there as well. It's just a really nice, lovely little salad. And then to finish that, we are going to add some chaat masala. So chaat masala is a mixture of, it's like a spice blend of various sort of zingy spices. If you haven't got chaat masala, you can use amchur, which is dried mango powder, and it just gives a really lovely zingy
Joni
flavour
said,
to this.
don't tell Lawrence, but it's much more relaxed without a chef over your shoulder. However, he's taken all his decent chef knives to work.
It doesn't surprise me that you're actually enjoying the cooking when you haven't got a chef watching your every single move. Okay, so there you go. That's what the salad looks like. It's a beautiful, lovely red colour. And we're just going to let that sit for a few minutes just to soften. Okay, so that is your Punjabi piyaz. And we're going to come back to the chicken now. So I've got loads of that moisture coming through. Here, have a look at that. Okay, so my chicken is pretty much there. Now to finish the dish, I'm going to give this all a stir. And into here, so this is what makes it, I mean, it smells pretty good as it is, but just to finish that off, what I'm going to add, and I say finish it off, it's actually going to cook for a little bit longer. So what I've got here is, so I had a tin of coconut milk, and I needed the water, so I used the water, and this was just the cream that was left at the top. So I'd put it in the fridge, all the cream rose to the top, it goes really solid. I scooped it off, put it in a bowl because I knew I'd need it for later because I was using the water for something else. So that is coconut cream that I'm going to be using in here. So that goes in here. If you've got the pourable coconut cream, that's fine. If you've got a tin of coconut milk, I suggest that if it has separated, just use the cream first, keep the water and just see how you go, because you can add it if you want more gravy. But you don't want to put too much in so it becomes too watery. So ideally just pop in your coconut cream.
Does this recipe taste good with pork instead of chicken?
It does taste good with pork, yeah. I mean, coconut milk and pork go really, really well. It's got a slight sweetness to it, which works with pork too. So, yep, I don't see why you can't use pork. It works quite well with even like things like prawns and that kind of thing as well. So the other thing I'm going to add is, so I've got here some ground almonds, and the almonds, what the almonds will do is when you put your coconut cream in, you give it a mix, it's going to loosen it all up because it's going to become a lot more liquidy. So what the almond powder does is it adds sweetness, but it also acts as a thickening agent as well. So it's about that flavour, but also about that
We've got a couple of questions.
texture that it adds. Yeah.
My chaat masala I made is pretty pungent with the black salt. Is that normal?
That's very normal. So chaat masala does have that sulphurous pungency from the black salt, and yeah, absolutely, that's what gives it the flavour. I love it. I love the stuff.
And then how about the coconut cream block in the packet?
So the coconut cream block in the packet, absolutely, you just need to actually with this, yeah, I would probably recommend that you just dissolve it in a little bit of hot water first. The thing with the packs, it will leave a bit of a texture, so it's not as smooth as using a tin or cream, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter. I quite like that texture. I quite like using that if I do rice and peas and that kind of thing, because it's got that lovely sort of coconutty texture. That's the only difference I find with using the blocks, that they're not quite as smooth. They've still got that little bit of fibrous flavour to them, or fibrous texture. So I'm just putting in 3 tablespoons of the almond powder or ground almonds. So this dish is all about unctuousness and yumminess and yummy sort of delicious flavours and slight sweetness. So this is why it's different from your restaurant ones. I don't tend to add sugar. I tend not to add sugar to my food in general. There's a few things that I do add sugar to, chutneys and that kind of thing, as Matt, we had a discussion about earlier, didn't we, in the app. But yeah, so with this kind of thing, I don't think you need to, because there's so many other ingredients that you can use that will add that sort of flavour that you're looking for. The other thing that I'm going to add these white poppy seeds. Now, if you don't have white poppy seeds, it's fine, you don't need them. White poppy seeds, again, are all about that thickening activity that they do. They also can add a little bit of texture as well, so you can add those in. It's quite a common ingredient in India, but if you don't have it, just miss it out. It's not a game changer, as they say. So just add that in.
You answered this earlier on, but is it possible to use pork or lamb?
Yeah, you can use pork or lamb. I think pork would work better. Lamb for me, and this is probably very much a personal thing. Lamb for me, I tend to use for those deep, dark, meaty curries. But then saying that, lamb pasanda is a favourite of a lot of people, and that's got that creamy sauce. So if you like the creamy sauce with lamb dishes, then absolutely you can use it. I don't see, there's no right or wrongs, as I always say. Okay, so that is looking pretty good. So for me, consistency wise, so if once you've added your coconut and it's watered down a little bit, you can just turn it up and let that reduce until you get the consistency that you're happy with. For me, the consistency is looking really good. I will show you. I'm gonna have a little taste first. Oh, I'm gonna add a little bit more salt. That's delish. See, how can anybody not like that? Korma in this country gets a real bashing. It's not a real curry, it's not this, it's not that, but it's just delicious, I'm sorry. So this is what mine is looking like. So nice and saucy, but it's not, I was going to say, we've added nothing to that apart from proper ingredients. It's just wonderful, really aromatic, really flavoursome.
Are the poppy seeds ground?
Ground poppy seeds go in, yeah. It just helps with that texture a little bit. So that's gone in. Now my chicken is done. Now if your chicken isn't done, or if you're using anything like cauliflower and it needs a little bit longer, just let it simmer away for a little bit longer. If you're using tofu, paneer or anything like that, it should pretty much be done. Just make sure you're happy with the consistency and the amount of gravy that you've got, otherwise you can tweak it, add a little bit of water to loosen, or let it simmer away and let it reduce down so it thickens up.
Have I missed the saffron?
No, the saffron, I've still got my saffron here. We haven't done the saffron yet. So to finish your dish, once that's done, I'm going to add some garam masala just to give it a little bit of oomph. So not a lot. I've just put in just under a teaspoon. And
say hi to Jenny. It's the first time catching you live, but they've avidly watched the recorded and have cooked along and recorded several times.
Hi Jenny, from where? Didn't say hi Jenny, lovely to have you join. I'm so pleased that you've cooked along, and I'm really happy that you've joined us live. Amazing to have you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're just finishing off the dish. It's pretty much done. The garam masala has gone in, and now I'm going to add the saffron. So for everyone who's getting worried about the saffron is going in now. I'm just pouring that in. It's going to add amazing colour and texture. Do you want to take a photo of the saffron?
I'll film
Get the staff, see.
I'll film you putting it in.
So the saffron goes in. I'm just going to make sure that I scoop out all of that good stuff. Amazing. Okay, so give that all a stir through, a nice gentle stir through, don't be vigorous, because now it's all coming together. And now you should, once that garam masala goes in, you'll get a whoosh, you'll get a hit of the aromatics that are in there, and you'll think, that was worth it, that's worth it. So I've turned it off. I'm just going to chop up some coriander because I want to add a little bit for my final garnish. Now, as a side dish, if you want to, this, I think, personally, I would have it with a nice bowl of plain rice, just because I think it works really well. The other thing that you can do is, if you want to make some rotis or do any breads, it's absolutely up to you. But I just think with a bowl of plain boiled basmati rice and this amazing dish, I think that's all you need. So I'm just gonna dish it all up so that you can see the final dish. We've got some lovely little bowls here. So you should, hopefully, all of you be at the same stage. But if you are still letting it simmer away, that is all good too. So I'm just going to pop that on. So we've got amazing zingy Punjabi pyaz, Indian style red onion salad, a little bit of fresh coriander just to zhuzh it all up, because it just gives it that lovely freshness that I think is so important with a lot of these dishes. Now, the one thing that I haven't yet done, which I think is really important in a korma, is this final little bit of lemon juice is just going to lift it. So all of those horrible, sickly, heavy, sweet kormas that you've had, this is honestly, it's just going to, that little tiny little bit of lemon with the lemon pip that I've managed to get in there as well is just going to lift that dish. So there you go. There is my amazing fresh and zingy chicken korma, cooked in under an hour, I would like to say, with an amazing Punjabi pyaz. I will put it back over here because you can't see it. Punjabi pyaz done for you on our Friday Night Curry Club. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy weeks on a Friday evening to cook along and have a little chit chat. As always, if you've got any questions, I will answer as the evening sort of takes us away. I will sort of answer your questions and so on. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please, please, please take a little picture of your final dish and post it on the app. If you don't have my app, just go to your app store, type in Harry Ghotra, and you can download my app for free. It's an amazing community of people, a lot of who are on tonight, who cook, ask questions, share their photos, share their food experiences, and it's just a really safe, lovely environment to be in. So please do take a look. Take a picture of the dish that you've cooked and share it with me, and I will post it on my social media channels tomorrow. It's been a joy to have you back in my kitchen as always, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, give the video a thumbs up, and tell all your friends and family all about me and all about the recipes, and let's get everyone cooking. Take care, have a fabulous